In the villages scattered across Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, and Bengal, there's a warning passed quietly from elders to travelers. It's never written down. It's never announced loudly. It is whispered because some truths don't like to be spoken. If you see a woman alone at night, they say, look at her feet. They say a Chureyl's beauty can shatter a man's senses. Her skin glows pale in the moonlight. Her eyes shimmer with a deep sorrow. And her voice sounds like someone you once loved. But her feet face backwards. And if you notice them too late, you won't walk home again. According to ancient belief, a Chureyl is born when a woman dies an unnatural death, betrayed, abandoned, or wronged during pregnancy or childbirth. Her grief doesn't leave her body, it twists her soul. But her greatest power doesn't lie in her face or her voice, it lies in her braid. A long, thick braid that never unravels no matter how old she becomes. It's said that this braid binds her rage, her hunger, and her curse all together. If someone is brave or foolish enough to cut it, the Chureyl will be destroyed forever. That is what the stories claim. But stories never tell you how many people died trying. In 2009, near a forest road outside a small village called Mahua, a series of disappearances began. Truck drivers stopped taking that route after midnight. A local tea stall owner claimed he heard bangles ringing at 2:30 a.m. every single night, soft at first, then louder, circling his stall like footsteps. One night a young man named Rakesh decided to ignore the warnings. He was returning from a wedding, slightly drunk, riding his motorcycle all alone. The road was empty. The moon was bright. That's when he saw her. She stood by the roadside, dressed in a red sari, her hair braided thick and long over her shoulder. She looked helpless, lost. Abaya, she said softly. Can you drop me to the next village? Her voice sounded familiar. Rakesh slowed down. And then, he remembered the warning. His eyes drifted downward. Her feet were facing backwards. By the time the fear hit him, it was already too late. Rakesh later told his story from a hospital bed. He was one of the few who survived. The moment he noticed her feet, the air grew cold. Her smile widened unnaturally, stretching across her face. Her bangles began ringing violently, as if dozens of wrists were shaking at once. You looked, she whispered. The road vanished. The trees bent inward. Shadows twisted and writhed. Rakesh felt cold, claw-like hands wrap around his chest as his bike skidded and crashed. He remembers one thing with terrifying clarity: her braid. It moved on its own, like a living snake. He passed out screaming. When villagers found him at dawn, he was lying upside down in a dry canal. Deep scratches covered his body, and his hair had turned white on one side. He survived, but 3 others that month did not. Fear turned into desperation. The villagers called a tantric from Bengal, an old man with ash-covered hands and eyes that never blinked. He listened to their stories and nodded slowly. She is old, he said. Strong. Her braid has never been cut. The tantric explained the rule. A Chureyl cannot be attacked directly. She must be tricked, lured, and her braid must be cut before she realizes she has been seen. One chance, one cut. Miss it, and the person will never be found. They chose a man named Harish whose brother had disappeared on that same road. Harish agreed. At 1:48 a.m., Harish stood on the forest road, holding a sickle coated with vermilion and ash. His heart pounded so loud he feared it would summon her. The bangles rang. She appeared, closer than expected. Her beauty was unbearable. Tears streamed down her face. Her eyes reflected a deep pain, not evil. Why are you standing alone? She asked. Harish forced himself not to look at her feet. I'm waiting for someone, he replied, just as he was taught. She smiled and stepped closer. The smell of wet soil and rot filled the air. As she turned slightly, her braid swung forward. Harish lunged. The sickle touched the braid and stopped. The braid hardened like iron. Her head snapped around. You were going to cut it, she said calmly. Her voice was no longer human. The forest screamed. That is how villagers described it later. Birds flew blindly into trees. Dogs howled and collapsed. The wind reversed direction. Harish's body was found 3 days later hanging from a banyan tree, his legs twisted backwards, his mouth filled with mud and bangles. The tantric left the village before sunrise. He said only one thing before leaving. Not every braid can be cut. Here is the part the stories rarely tell you. A Chureyl's braid can only be cut by someone she does not hate. Someone she sees not as prey but as family. That is why so many fail. That is why the Chureyl of Mahor still walks. Even today, travelers report seeing a woman on empty roads between midnight and 3 a.m. They hear bangles, they smell damp earth. And those who survive say the same thing. She smiles when you notice her feet. So remember, if a woman asks you for help at night, don't look at her face, don't listen to her voice, look at her feet. And if they are backwards, pray you never see her braid move. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to like and subscribe for more tales from the shadows. Stay safe out there.